Oh, good. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Caldwell-West Caldwell Board of Education regular public monthly meeting tonight, Monday, December 15th, 2025, our last meeting of 2025. Can't believe it. Tonight, the board met in executive session in the Teachers Lounge of Wilson Elementary School, 71 Orton Road in West Caldwell, New Jersey. The purpose of that meeting was to discuss personnel litigation, miscellaneous, and old business matters. That meeting has been advertised and is in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act and NJSA 10:4-6, also known as the Sunshine Law. The matters discussed will be made public when confidentiality is no longer required, and formal action pursuant to said discussion shall take place only at a meeting to which the public has been invited. Tonight, the public conference meeting is happening at 7:04 p.m. here in the multi-purpose room of Wilson School. The Board of Education meeting is being streamed live, but all community questions and comments will be welcomed in person only. The Caldwell-West Caldwell Board of Education public conference meeting is also in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act and NJSA 10:4-6, also known as the Sunshine Law. Notices have been sent to the Progress, Caldwell, New Jersey, the Star Ledger, Newark, New Jersey, and Tap Into, West Essex. Notices have also been posted at the Board of Education Business Office in the Harrison School Building, Gray Street, West Caldwell, and have been delivered to the clerks of the Borough of Caldwell and the Township of West Caldwell for posting. Brian, can you take the roll?
Yes. Ms. DiMartini.
Here.
Ms. Landolfi Jefferson.
Here.
Ms. Mack.
Here.
Mr. Diabola.
Here.
Ms. Grosso.
Here.
So we have 5 voting members present. We have a quorum.
Can everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brian, are there any communications for the board?
There were none.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to move to the superintendent's report.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. At this time, I'd like to invite our middle school House representatives from both Endurance and Citizenship houses to come on up to the microphone.
Good evening. I'm Reed Calabrese from the House of Citizenship.
And I'm Jesse Goodgold from the House of Endurance. We are here to share some recent events that have occurred at GCMS.
The first House Day took place on the day before Thanksgiving break. During this House Day, all the students competed in many games such as Family Feud, Name That Tune, Silent Ball, Nitro Ball, and Volleyball. After these fun games, there were 7 students per grade to participate in the Hoopapalooza event, where the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders played a 10-minute long basketball game against the teachers. Both the 6th and 7th grade teams lost, but the 8th graders came on top with a tight game that came down to seconds. This is the 7th team ever in history of Hoopapalooza that a student team beat the teachers.
On December 4th, we had our band and orchestra concert, where the 6th grade band and 7th grade band performed, and the 6th grade orchestra Cambrio and 7th and 8th grade orchestra performed. They all performed very well and showed that their practice paid off. Feliz Navidad was a crowd favorite.
On December 11th, GCMS had its annual chorus concert. In the concert, the 6th grade chorus and the 7th and 8th grade chorus performed. Like the orchestras and bands, they performed very well and their practice did indeed pay off. All I Want for Christmas was also a crowd favorite.
As of recently, our advisory classes have been collecting many different gifts and toys for kids and their families that have a very limited budget when it comes to buying Christmas gifts. Many of these families participate in the J-Fund Foundation, which gives them the financial support that they need. The advisory collected these gifts, and the students in these classes wrapped and delivered them to a room located on the 2nd floor of the middle school. All of these gifts are greatly appreciated for the family that will be grateful for the gifts.
We are looking forward to our next House Day on December 23rd, and we will report about it in January. Thank you to Dr. Fonari and the Board of Education for having us. Are there any questions?
I always have questions, so I just would love to know, what do you both like? What's your favorite part of being a house leader?
Like interacting with the students and like leading them and like all the things that we do.
I like talking to the students and like raising their morales and like getting them hyped up because it's always fun to see them.
Aw.
And are you ready to take on the teachers in December?
Yes.
Yeah, it's coming out good.
Great, thank you guys. You guys want to take a picture? Does Reed have to go to a basketball game?
does.
Go ahead, run. Go ahead, Reed, you run. Do you have time?
you have
Just
time
a
for a
quick one. We'll
picture,
do real quick. We don't want you to be late.
So, this is an evening of celebration too. So next, I'd like to say a few words and then invite another colleague to come on up. But tonight we're recognizing Mr. Ayers on the occasion of his retirement. Okay. Mr. Ayers served as principal of Jefferson Elementary School for 19 and a half years. He started his career here in 2006. Mr. Ayers has been instrumental in guiding the school's climate and culture, and he can always be found wherever the students are, whether it's in their classrooms, learning activities, and or creating new traditions that are part of the culture at Jefferson. At this point, I'd like to ask Mr. Gaher to come on up as principal of Lincoln School to say a few words in recognition of Mr. Ayers. Yes.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'm Adam Gayer, as you said, the principal of Lincoln School. I've had the pleasure of working with Mr. Ayers for nearly 15 years now. And I was thinking, just when I was driving over here, Tim, what would I say about such an amazing career? And I started to think, I wonder what Dr. Fenari will say. I wonder what people are saying. And I was thinking, you only worked together for a few months. And I started thinking, Mr. Ayers out. He worked with a lot of superintendents, a lot of assistant superintendents, directors, supervisors, other principals, vice principals. I don't know what's going on in your mind, how it really feels to retire, but I hope you have time to reflect on all the different groups of people, the parents, the HSA, of course the students, custodians, substitutes, professional development leaders that we've worked with, and so on. It's for 19 and a half years, it's got to be in the thousands. And Mr. Ayers, that's a lot of personalities that you've had to deal with, and you did it really well. There aren't too many administrators that stick around in one position for 19 and a half years. You were able to do it, and you did it beautifully. I speak tonight as a representative of the administrative union here in Caldwell-West Caldwell, and Mr. Ayers has been somebody that has always been there for us, whether it was a weekend, a nighttime, on vacation. We bounce ideas around. We help each other get through stressful situations, and we always come out laughing because Mr. Ayers is one of the funnier people in the district, and that's true. But really, Tim, on a serious note, you were the principal of Jefferson School, which is a great school in this great community of Caldwell-West Caldwell, for 19 and a half years. Families choose to spend a lot of money to buy homes or pay rent to send their kids to Jefferson School. And they're all doing really well now as adults or, soon to be adult students. And I think you've made everybody really proud, the students, the families, your colleagues, the board. And I just want to congratulate you. And I see you with your two sons here, Owen and Henry. And I think it's great that you're here to support Dad. Now the three of you guys can go and have some fun in your retirement, Mr. Ayers. And to Shannon as well. Congratulations and best wishes.
And at this time, I think there are a couple of our board members who'd also like to join in and say a few words.
Thank you. Congratulations, Mr. Ayers. We want to thank you for making Jefferson just an incredible, special, very special place in the Caldwell-West Caldwell community. There's no question that the Jefferson kiddos are cared for, they're loved, they beam with Jaguar pride, and that's in large part because of your leadership. That really is a culture that you've created for the Jefferson community. So I'd like to thank you for that. I had a chance to speak to some students over the past few days and just get some feedback on the things that they're really going to miss. And I mean, Dr. Fernari is right. You are where the kids are is where you'll find Mr. Ayers, and whether it's on the field at recess. Apparently, you have a prettier quarterback, a standing quarterback for some of the kids, and they always appreciate and enjoy when you're playing with them. The spirit and enthusiasm that you bring to the rival kickball game is a huge, huge deal. They love that, and I didn't know this, but I guess there's a much anticipated weekly announcement of "It's Friday, baby," and so they all were like, "They says it every Friday." So hopefully, our new principal will take on some of those things. But these are all things that the kids are so excited to be a part of the Jefferson community, and that's again, that's a tribute to you. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoy your retirement. Enjoy spending time with your family and your sons. I know they're doing great things too. So all the best. Thank you.
So public service is at its best when it comes from the heart and is rooted in community. And there's 19 and a half years of heart and 19 and a half years of a lifetime dedicated to this community. Tonight, Mr. Ayers, we honor you as you retire from Jefferson Elementary School. That has been more than your workplace. It's been your second home, right? You've lived in this district for many years. You raised your two beautiful boys here, who were students here themselves, and you continue to call our community home. Your career reflects a deep commitment to the families that you serve, the students you guide, and the school community, Jefferson School, that you helped to shape. And while we celebrate your retirement, we celebrate your lifetime of service as being a public servant and the leadership that you have left. What you have done, you've left a legacy. Okay, those two guys right there, they're your lifetime legacy, but here, the kids and the families that you've touched are your legacy here at Jefferson Elementary School. And you've touched our district, and you will never be forgotten. And on a personal note, you know, we went through a lot of tragedy in COVID, and we lost someone we loved very dearly, and you loved him too. And I always remember you were such a source of strength and comfort for our community and for the middle school that was your neighboring building at that time, and that will not be forgotten. And I know that Jim is smiling and happy that you get to enjoy something that he never did. So from the bottom of our hearts, on behalf of the Board of Education, thank you, Mr. Ayers, and enjoy.
So, Mr. Ayers, just come over here for a minute. We have to catch this for posterity on the videotape. On behalf of the Board of Education, your administrative colleagues, the staff, the students, and the entire Jefferson community, and the entire community of Caldwell-West Caldwell Public Schools. And on my behalf, I've only known you since the summertime, and you and I have worked really well together.
Yes.
And I know what it's like to be a retiree, and I know what it's like to not be a retiree. And I have a feeling you're going to be not a retiree. But this is for you, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Stand up and give him the family.
Sure. Yeah, I was going to say, you're not going to let me go without saying a story. Right? Well, thank you, everyone. That was very nice. Thank you, my colleagues, for coming out. They know me too well. They pulled me aside. They said we were just making sure you're going to be here tonight. So, you know, but you know, as Adam mentioned, I have worked with you know, a number of superintendents, and as a 35-year-old new principal, Dr. Girardi was my superintendent, and the spring of my first year, I you know, those that there may be some folks in here that know Dan. Probably it's been a while, and but Dan was a very stoic person, very professional. every now and then he would like let out little peeks of his personality, and it turned out he was a big college basketball fan. Like March Madness was his thing. Like, you know, he had a bracket, but he wouldn't like let anyone on. But I kind of had an idea. So I call for a meeting in June. Again, first year, right? Principal. I show up with a very large poster board of a bracket. And I walk in and I said, you know, Dr. Girardi, you know, I'm pretty sure you're a college basketball fan. I have a great idea. And he's just sitting there at his desk. I said, you know, this is pre-AC days. So, you know, like for those of you that had spent in a class without AC, like it was some brutal Junes that we had. So I'm like, look, you know, nothing's really going on in June. You know, we're all like, it's really hot. You know, the kids aren't paying attention. I said, I have this idea. What if we do a 4-school, like kind of March Madness kickball tournament? And I show the bracket up, like I'm all excited. And he's looking at me, he's like, no. So I'm like, I'm down but not out. So I'm walking out and I turn around and I go, Wilson versus Jefferson? And he goes, okay. So, and I'm happy to, you know, that all 4 schools now have the traditional kickball game at the end. But as Ms. Grosso mentioned, you know, I didn't do a lot of things well. I'll be the first to admit that. But what I do hope is that I did leave a legacy and always tried to put the kids first. Mm-hmm. And that was always my compass as a school leader. And you know, I hope that'll be my legacy in the end. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. It's been an honor to be here for this long. You know, secretly, Chris Marcel isn't here, but what I really wanted to do, and I started like in earnest, like I would call him up like at least like every 6 months, like, Chris, any jobs in maintenance? Like I have like this dream of having like my work outfit, the name tag, Big T, and you know, Big T on the door of the truck. Like that's what I really wanted to do. So I'm hoping in retirement I can live out that dream, and I'm thinking about being a handyman and living that out a little bit. But you know, my 2 boys are here, and we have a lot of baseball. I'm going from a mile commute to 4 hours one way and 3 hours the other. But I'm really looking forward to seeing them play this spring. Yeah. Unfortunately, my wife couldn't be here. She has a work trip, but we other thing that people may not know, but I'm a documentary junkie. Like PBS is my like. The minute she hears a British accent or like a documentary, she just leaves the room because she knows PBS is on. And if anyone who watches PBS, Viking advertises these river cruises, like, you know, at the end of every show. So I do feel fortunate that this September we are going to take a river cruise. It's something I've been begging her to do for a while. So this will give us some time to enjoy that as well. So baseball, river cruise, handyman. Hopefully we got a full docket in the future to come. But thank you, everyone. I appreciate the board's support. Dr. Fernari, as you mentioned, we've only worked with each other for a little bit, but you really have been a breath of fresh air and you know, a great resource to all of us. And to my colleagues and some of the folks that are here, the teachers, thank you for coming. It's been a pleasure working with you. And you know, definitely I'll miss this place, but time for chapter 2, I guess, right? Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right. The next portion of our superintendent's report, we have Kathy Mantell from our audit firm, Ms. Avacha, and she's going to talk to us about the audit from the 24-25 school year.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I really didn't give Brian a whole lot of advance notice on this. I realized that I hadn't even put my talking points together, and I said, how did that happen? Well, this was going to be at the end of my small little talk, was that the audit's not issued yet because we're again waiting for the Essex County pension numbers. We talked about possibly issuing without it, but every decision we make to move forward, we get punished in some way, shape, or form. So I finally said to Brian, we'll just wait. They had a meeting the third week in November, and the woman who, I forget what her position is, said call the next day, and they said, oh, the board didn't approve it. So now the next meeting is this Wednesday, so I'm hoping that on Thursday when we call, we'll have the information and we can get your audit out right away. So I'll just go through a recap of how the district finished out. Now again, these numbers are as of June 30th of 25. You're already halfway through your next year. But I'm very excited to be here, and I think that you've really managed to come together and pull off very good results year after year after year, and it's not something that's easy to do. It takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of planning, it takes a lot. And so just briefly looking at the fund balances at June of 25 versus 24, if you look at all those numbers, the restricted for capital reserve, maintenance reserve, emergency reserve, prior year excess unemployment, they're all restricted. And yes, you have some flexibility. When you get to the bottom number, which is the unassigned, if you have more than 2% plus your awards for extraordinary aid, you can put those into the reserves. And it's very important to do that. I've said it for many, many years. You live within a 2% spending cap, with some exceptions, but to try to do all your operating costs, your maintenance costs, and your capital costs within that framework, if you achieve savings and you have money left over at the end of the year, it's always good to put them into reserves. I just highlighted some of the GASB statements that we implemented over the last several years. We have a few coming up in 2026. How you generate your fund balance each year is the excess local revenue is a little under $1 million. It was $913,000. Excess state aid is typically what you have awarded at the end of the year for the extraordinary aid, so you'll have that available to you. It gets added to that 2%. The federal is just the semi, and every district across the board I've seen, they don't realize the revenue that the feds ask you to generate. And then the unexpended appropriations is usually the biggest driver. And so because of the information that we put in the act for, if you just look at the far right column, those are the adjusted figures for the on behalf payments that the state makes. So you have 4.150, let's say, of unexpended appropriations, but at the end of the year you also had $1,073,000 of encumbrances. So those are open purchase orders. They haven't been charged as expenditures until they roll forward into this year. So if you subtract them out, you really had $3 million left over from last year. It was down ever so slightly, but very strong. And then the budgeted fund balance that you're using is very minimal, which is great, because when you're using that number, you have to continue to generate that number. Prior year encumbrances in the previous year were a little over $2 million, but that's because you had summer projects going on, capital. Withdrawal from capital reserve during the year was $670,000. Fund balance appropriated by board resolution was $925,000, and again, that was the prior year extraordinary aid and non-public transportation aid. So then the next page just shows the trend in using surplus for the budget. So again, for 24-25, it was $568,000. You used the $925 of the extraordinary aid from the previous year. For 25-26, you have $498,000. Brian will come to you for a resolution if you need to, or if you've already done an appropriation for the extraordinary aid. And then for 26-27, you ended up with excess surplus of $661. So if I weren't in Caldwell-West Caldwell, I would be telling the board, be careful when that number goes up. If you use it for operations, you're going to be dependent upon it. But I've seen what happens here, and everybody is very cognizant of what's happening and what the ultimate effect will be. So very, very happy with the way you're managing the funds. And then a recap of the capital maintenance and emergency reserves. And I was going to say to Brian that this emergency reserve, I had a couple districts that established it many years ago, and they were trying to figure out how to get rid of it. So one of those reasons is if your health benefit costs go up more than 4%, which we know they've gone way up past 4%, and you've gotten cap-based adjustments for them in your tax levy, So, you know, that you might want to use that because I don't think you'll use it for anything else. They did expand it that you can use it for security reasons, and I think that's been done in the past. So I'll just leave your business administrator with that thought. And then you see where $1 million was deposited to maintenance reserve and $2 million to capital reserve, and the ending balances. So I walked in and board president says that's a very healthy capital reserve, and I said yes it is. And what it means is that you're seeing the future. You just had a capital referendum, that's wonderful, and you get 40% state aid for that project, give or take. You know, there are some adjustments to it, but given that the state will participate in that. But if it's not an eligible project, those projects you want to fund from your capital reserve. So I'll remind you, I have a note down below that in 25-26 you budgeted $954,000 for a local share of capital projects, and then 3.250 to offset the debt service, because you're trying to stabilize the debt service as that new bond issue came in. So as of June 30th, after those two withdrawals from the budget, you were at 8.9. So whatever the plans are going forward, I'm sure that that will be very helpful to you. Then in the capital projects fund, you still have a small balance on your 2018 ESIP project. And then, of course, the bond referendum was just authorized, so a majority of those funds weren't spent as of June 30th. Debt service fund balance is 0. See the food service fund on the next page, the operating revenue, the subsidies, the operating expenses. The change in the food service net position was minus 136,000. If you recall, I've come here for the last 2 or 3 years saying that all those subsidies were great during the pandemic, but then you had so much money, you were exceeding the maximum, and the Department of Agriculture is very difficult in terms of what you can use it for, so I again applaud you for that. So that's the reason why it's down, is to get into that number that they're looking for. So you've managed to do that very well. Continuing education, change in revenue, operating expenses, you were up 46,000. You ended the year with 529,000 in net position. And then long-term liabilities, you'll see the bonds, the new bonds that were authorized, the old bonds that were paid off. You completely paid down your finance purchases agreements. And then you have the PERS pension liability that decreased slightly. And then highlighted in blue is Essex pension, because we are desperately awaiting those numbers, hopefully on Thursday. And then compensated absences last year, that was a government accounting standard board standard. And so the increase is just increases based upon number of days earned, and 121,000 was the decrease that was for payments out to people who left the district, retired. So then management suggestions. I didn't have any for you other than the fact that there are 2 upcoming GASBs that will be implemented, and in the spring we get ahead of those. We have a annual seminar for all our school board clients saying these are the things we're going to have to do. We get pro forma information together and share it with all of our clients so that they're prepared. And then audit recommendations, there are none. And so that is because of the effort that's put forth in this district. We just saw a principal retire. People say when you're around for a long time, you either become stagnated or complacent. Obviously not. You know, you have a principal who's been here for a long time and created energy. You have people that I've seen on this board for a while, and they genuinely care. So I really do believe that you're on the right path, and anytime there's a question, Brian has the opportunity to reach out to us and get our take on those things. So with that, that's the end of my
Thank you
comments.
so
If anybody
much.
has any questions.
Any comments from the board, questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
You're very welcome.
And Kathy, I just want to say thank you. You and I have seen and worked with one another before, and it's a pleasure to be working with you again. Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kathy.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays
You
to
too.
you.
You too. Okay, I have one more item on my superintendent's report this evening. On Friday, December 12th, Grover Cleveland Middle School was alerted to the fact that there was a swastika drawn on the walls in a student restroom. As with any matter such as this, administrators and staff implemented standard procedures for the identification of the facts. In accordance with the district's memorandum of agreement with law enforcement, the matter was reported as a hate crime. Mr. Bertolo reported the situation to me and shared the letter that he would be sending to the GCMS parent community. I immediately shared the information with the Board of Education as required. In his letter, Mr. Bertolo outlined actions taken at the school. The image, and they included, the image was removed from the bathroom wall. An investigation into the matter was initiated, including working with law enforcement authorities and other agencies. The provision of support in the form of counseling to any student or staff member who may have been affected is and will be provided. The provision of appropriate lessons centered on tolerance, respect, and empathy for all individuals regardless of their race, religion, ethnicity, or background. These lessons incorporate resources such as the Holocaust Center for Humanity's Pyramid of Hate, language arts and social studies lessons specific to each grade, 6 through 8, that address the New Jersey Student Learning Standards focused on the New Jersey State Statute 18A 35-28, Holocaust and Genocide. Also experiential learning such as guest speakers and field trips intended to bring deeper insight into these important topics. The Caldwell-West Caldwell Public Schools Policy 8465, Bias Crimes and Bias-Related Acts, is clear. The Board of Education is committed to providing a safe and healthy environment for all children in the school district. Hate crimes and bias-related acts involving students can lead to further violence and retaliation. Hate crimes and bias-related acts, by their nature, are confrontational, inflame tensions, and promote social hostility and will not be tolerated by the school district. Board of Education members, this concludes my superintendent's report. If you have any questions, please let me know and I'll be happy to address them.
Any questions for Dr. Fenari? Comments?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fenari.
Thank you.
Before we move on, so this is a voting meeting tonight because it's our only meeting of the month. Before we move on, as far as the president's report, I would just like to say that I had a chance to go to the JCHS chorus concert last week, their holiday concert. It was like being in Carnegie Hall. I thought the students were amazing. We have a new chorus teacher at the high school. I thought she did a spectacular job. It was just a wonderful evening. Everyone thoroughly enjoyed it. So it was an absolute pleasure, and we have such talented kids, and I know at the middle school level as well, and I wish more people would go out and hear them. So it was just a thrill, and I just wanted to take note and congratulate our new chorus teacher at the high school. Did a wonderful job. Committee reports, we definitely have finance and facility. We have curriculum and technology. Yes, Tara?
Yes, we do.
Do we have personnel tonight? Or policy? Policy, definitely? Okay. All right, so why don't we start finance and facilities to my right?
Sure. Okay, the Finance and Facilities Committee met through Google Meet on November 13th and December 11th for approximately 1 hour during each meeting. Both myself and President Julianne Grosso were on those meetings, along with Business Administrator Brian McCarthy and Interim Superintendent Dr. Lydia Fenari. The committee reviewed all finance and facility agenda items that are included on tonight's regular meeting agenda, as well as those items included on the 11/17 regular agenda. Just to provide a few highlights from those meetings, some of the things that we did discuss were the district's rollout of additional measures and applications that support school safety for staff and the students throughout the district. We also spoke about the bids awarded for the Phase 1 projects of the March referendum. Tonight's awards are significantly under construction budgets. These projects will commence during the summer of 2026. We also spoke about a timetable for a decision on the future of the Harrison School building. The board has asked Dr. Fenari to present several options to us as a board this spring, so early 2026, and we are going to review those and then report back to the community as we start to discuss. And then finally, the board also continues to explore and discuss the next steps for the James Caldwell High School Fieldhouse. We plan to meet with the architect soon and then discuss making the fieldhouse both safe and equitable for our students. And that concludes my report.
Any questions or comments from the board? No? Just, Brian, I meant to ask you, as far as the projects that have come in for bid, the bids we're gonna be accepting this evening, do we have that updated on the website under referendum for the public to follow?
After they're
After
approved,
this,
I'll
okay,
update
yeah, I just
them.
wanna make sure that
Yes,
we update so
yes.
that people who
Yeah.
aren't at the meeting or
Yes.
aren't following, if they just click to see the status, they can see like
I'll
which
add
project.
I'll add who
Thanks,
the
Brian.
awarded contractors are.
Thank
We also
you.
have a flow chart on there as far as the projects and when
Great.
they should be, but I'll update that.
Great, thank you, Brian. I just meant to
Will
say
do.
it. Thank you. And Brian, I also just want to say too, because it's relevant to finance and facilities, everyone can see, like, if you're following school districts like, across the state, you can see how many school districts are in financial trouble. The fact that we have no financial recommendations from our auditor is really kudos to Brian, as much as we would like to take responsibility, and we do, for a large part in how the tax dollars are handled, and believe me, we give Brian a run for his money. Sometimes I'm afraid he's gonna pull out every hair on his head during some of these meetings, especially budget season. But Brian, you are a wonderful business administrator. We are so lucky to have you, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really, on behalf of
Thank
the
you.
board, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, curriculum and technology.
Okay. So on December 1st, myself, Dr. Fernari, Ms. Jacobs, Ms. Mack, and Ms. Bahuddin met for our curriculum and technology meeting. I'm going to start first with some highlights and discussions that came from the middle school. So first, 6th grade GAP students at GCMS attended the Essex County Gifted and Talented Problem Solving event, and they placed 2nd and 3rd this year, so congratulations to all. During Native American History Month, the GCMS Ecology Club visited the Essex County Environmental Center to learn about the Lenape Indians and to explore how they lived based on their surroundings. We also discussed our ongoing efforts about building bridges between the middle school and the elementary schools, those 5th graders that are rising. And so in partnership with staff from the middle school, they have worked to create opportunities for GCMS students to visit the elementary schools later this spring and share helpful information with the 5th graders to get them ready for GCMS. And it also gives them a really great opportunity to ask questions to folks who are already living that. So that's going to be very exciting. Also, GCMS staff are currently working with 8th graders who did not pass any first marking period classes to help them get back on a good academic track. So counselors are meeting with these students, their teachers and parents to set up plans for helping getting up the missing the missing assignments to help them get their grades up. And additionally, counselors are checking back with the students and teachers regularly to make sure that everyone is feeling supported. So thank you for that. JCHS gave the fall retake in October for the NJ GPA testing to any senior who did not pass the test last spring. Very great news, we had 6 more passing scores, 3 in ELA and 3 in math, and that moves more students forward to their graduation requirements. At the elementary level, our new math intervention teacher has started working with students after reviewing student data, the curriculum, and also meeting with teachers. We will be running 2 cycles of math intervention this year, and the first will be a focus on multiplication and division. Principals are continuing to lead professional learning in their schools that are aligned with our district and school goals to support instructions in each building. Some specific highlights include principal-led professional development. It helps to enhance questioning and discussion in the classroom. So we did have a lot of conversation around tools and methods that are being used that really help the students engage more. We also discussed, as you'll be hearing in policy meeting, the policy and requirements around the Freedom to Read Act, which you will see appearing on tonight's agenda. And just to follow up from last meeting, we are also starting the discussion about the family costs for Chromebooks, and that will be circled back to finance as well.
Thank
So,
you. That's it?
yeah, that's it. Sorry. Yes, that's it.
Any questions for Terry curriculum? No. All right, Marisa, want to hit policy?
Yes. The policy committee met virtually on December 3rd. Present were myself, Mrs. DiMartini, Dr. Fernari, and Mrs. Jacobs. The main focus of the meeting was reviewing the policies and regulations related to the Freedom Act. Dr. Fernari and Mrs. Jacobs reviewed policies and regulations 2530, 2535, and 9130, and explained how they connect to the new law. The committee discussed the requirements of the act and agreed that these policies and regulations will be placed on tonight's meeting agenda for a single reading. New Jersey school districts are required to be ready to implement the Freedom Act by December 9th, so that's why we're moving along on this. The committee also reviewed policies regarding the varsity letters for interscholastic extracurricular activities and academic integrity and student grievance. There were only minor changes to these policies, and they're placed on tonight's agenda for a first reading. The committee still has 8 policies remaining from the most recent policy manual audit. The plan is to review these policies over the next couple meetings, and the next policy alert is expected in late December. The date of the next meeting will be set after our reorganization in January.
Any questions about policy? No, and Chris will round up just briefly
Sure.
personnel.
For personnel, we had met, myself, Ms. Jefferson, and Dr. Fernari. We continued to talk about our staffing for the 25-26 school year. We talked a lot about, and Dr. Fernari went through the process of the renewal and non-renewal for teachers. We went through some of the tuition reimbursements, and we as well also had the initial preliminary conversation about Harrison School. And that's what we talked about.
Okay, questions about personnel? Okay. All right, then we're going to move on to approval of the minutes. So can I have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
And can I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Brian, whenever you're ready.
Yes, Ms. DiMartini,
Yes.
Ms. Landolfi Jefferson,
Yes.
Ms. Mack,
Yes.
Mr. Diambola,
Yes.
Ms. Grosso.
Yes.
So 5-0, motion carried.
Okay, now we'll move to public comments on agenda items only. Public participation shall be governed by the following. Participant must be recognized by the presiding officer and must preface comments by an announcement of their name and address. Statements are to be limited to 3 minutes duration. Participant may speak no more than once on the same topic until all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. Boards use the public comment period of the meeting as an opportunity to listen to citizen concerns, but not to debate issues or enter into a question and answer session or a cross-examination between the public and individual members. Be aware that not all issues brought before the board will be resolved this evening. Boards may respond to public comment by seeking additional information or by delegating the authority to investigate the issue to the superintendent or her designee. The presiding officer may interrupt, warn, and/or terminate a participant's comments if they exceed the allotted time or are objectively obscene. Participants may be civilly liable for any obscene, defamatory, or slanderous statements made during the public comment portion of the meeting. That being said, does anyone want to address the board on anything agenda only right now? No? Okay. All right, so we're going to move on to curriculum and technology for votes.
Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, motion to approve items A through H under curriculum and technology on this evening's agenda.
Okay, and is there any questions or discussions amongst the board? No? Okay, then can I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and Brian, whenever you're ready.
Yes, Ms. DiMartini,
Yes.
Ms. Landolfi Jefferson,
Yes.
Ms. Mack,
Yes.
Mr. Diambola,
Yes.
Ms. Grosso.
Yes.
5-0, motion carried.
Okay, next personnel.
For personnel, upon recommendation of the superintendent of schools, motion to approve items A through J under certificated staff and items A through F under non-certificated staff and personnel.
Any questions from the board?
No.
Okay, then a second, please.
I'll second.
And then Brian, whenever you're ready.
Yes, Ms. DiMartini,
Yes.
Ms. Landolfi Jefferson,
Yes.
Ms. Mack,
Yes.
Mr. Diambola,
Yes.
Ms. Grosso.
Yes.
5-0, motion carried.
Okay, we're in finance and facilities.
Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, motion to approve items A through M, tabling item G under finance and item A under facilities on this evening's agenda.
Any questions or discussions amongst the board? No? Okay. For the public's purview, the G that we're tabling is the new security vestibule and upgrade that's in the first part of the referendum. We were set to approve a bid tonight, accept the lowest bid, but there is some issues with one of the other bidders, so for full transparency, we're tabling that for now until that gets worked out, and once that's worked out, it'll be back on the agenda, okay? But if anyone wants to know why we're tabling it, that's why. If there's no other discussion, can I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Okay, and then Brian, whenever you're ready.
Yes. Ms. DiMartini?
Yes.
Ms. Longofi Jefferson?
Yes.
Ms. Mack?
Yes.
Mr. Diambola?
Yes.
Ms. Grosso?
Yes.
5-0, motion carried.
And then finally, policy, please.
Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, motion to approve items A through Z under A through C under policy on this evening's agenda.
And any questions? Comments? Okay. A second, please?
I'll second it.
And then Brian, whenever you're ready.
Ms. DiMartini?
Yes.
Ms. Longofi Jefferson?
Yes.
Ms. Mack?
Yes.
Mr. Diambola?
Yes.
Ms. Grosso?
Yes.
5-0, motion carried.
Okay, moving to public comments on anything off the agenda, and if you thought of something on it that you want to address, please feel free, but this is to address the board about anything. Public participation shall be governed by the following. Participant must be recognized by the presiding officer and must preface comments by an announcement of their name and address. Statements are to be limited to 3 minutes duration. Participant may speak no more than once on the same topic until all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard, and all statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. Once again, boards use the public comment period of the meeting as an opportunity to listen to citizen concerns, but not to debate issues or enter into question and answer sessions or cross-examinations between the public and individual board members. Be aware that not all issues brought before the board will be resolved this evening. Boards may respond to public comment by seeking additional information or by delegating the authority to investigate the issue to the superintendent or her designee. The presiding officer may interrupt, warn, and/or terminate a participant's comments if they exceed the allotted time or are objectively obscene. Participants may be civilly liable for any obscene, defamatory, or slanderous statements made during public comment. If anyone would like to address the board, now is the time, please.
Hi, Madeline Brown, 13 Burkendine Road. First of all, happy second night of Hanukkah. I would not be here tonight. I'd be home. However, as Dr. Fernari said, we had yet another incident of anti-Semitism and hate speech, hate symbols in our schools. And Dr. Fernari, I appreciate everything you had to say. I'm not sure how much they let you know of the history in the last few years, but what you said and what has been done at this point is meaningless platitudes. As long as I've been around, as long as my kids have been around, and I'm a product of this district, most recently our first letter in the last few years was in June 2022. That was the first swastika of my second son's middle school years. At that time, it was handled terribly. The police were not called. All those laws that you said were not followed. I called the police. I had a conversation with the administration at the time who had no idea why this was a horrible incident and terrible things were said. Fast forward about 18 months, my son then came and spoke at the next Board of Ed meeting when the next swastika was found. He said, "What are you going to do about it?" He asked for change. He came up here and said, "Tell us what you do when this happens. Tell us the consequences." A child's point of view, he had just turned 14. He understood that we needed to see consequences or it would happen again. ADL was called in. Either the board, the school administration spoke to the ADL. Our rabbi came in and spoke. No one took any recommendations. The pyramid of hate was brought in, or what is that what it is, the pyramid of hate was brought in. Okay, fast forward to this week when, and I'm not a middle school parent, so this was sent to me, but literally the letter he sent to you, I'm not sure if you saw the one from October 10th, 2023, it is a cut and paste. At this point, at least in our middle school, we have a swastika file in our Google Drive. and we copy and we paste and we send out the exact same letters, which is now the third letter in 3.5 years. And I don't know about you, but I don't think that that's okay. The only change to the letter, as a matter of fact, to the one that came out now, is that he added that we are going to we will deliver a lesson on the pyramid of hate. Well, since that's what was done after October 10th, 2023, I don't think that that's good enough. If you have students that are continuously failing tests, you offer outreach to your teachers. You send them to professional development. You seek outside sources. You don't keep doing the same thing over and over again if you care about those students. So if you care about my students, the Jewish students of this community, or even anybody else that doesn't want swastikas in their school, then you are not doing enough. To literally allow a carbon copy of the letter to go out with the exact same intervention that did not work a year ago is not okay. So at this point, I am here to let you know that you need to step in. You are in charge of what happens in this district. You are, in fact, in charge of the safety of our students, and you are not taking your job seriously enough.
Hi, Jonathan Goodgold, 63 Orton Road. Every time there's an event, anti-Semitic event, I end up coming before the board. It shouldn't be the only reason I come before the board. My wife had to leave, but I wanted to read some stuff that she had written. Since our 3 children have been in the middle school, this is the 4th incident. Swastikas drawn on the wall. 4 too many. I've seen comments from people on local Facebook groups. It's no big deal. The kids who draw the swastikas probably don't know what they are. I beg to differ. This is a hate crime. This is as bad as anything you can imagine. If someone draws a swastika, they definitely know what it is and what it represents. It's not a drawing learned in art class. This is an intentional image of hatred aimed at a specific religion. I've also heard, we drew things on the walls in the 70s. Well, I grew up in the 70s and 80s. It's not a big deal, but it's different now. You see images from Bondi Beach in Australia, Brown University, anywhere imaginable in the last few years. The protests, without even looking at any of the facts, it's become chic to be anti-Semitic, and it's not acceptable. Not acceptable at all. Not when our families, my wife and I, my families, were wiped out in the Holocaust, where families were just devastated, and we're seeing it again. October 7th came, families in Israel are still devastated, and will always be devastated from that. I appreciate the middle school's quick response. Well-written email, you know, it's the most direct email so far we've seen, at least in our opinion. But again, we've received the same similar email every single time. And, you know, we come to the meetings when this happens, and we want something to be done. But it's not working, whatever is being done. You teach a pyramid of hate, you teach whatever, kids don't listen to this. Most kids don't absorb it. You have 40-minute class, 45-minute class, one lesson about what a swastika is, the pyramid of hate. Something in social studies, kids think it's boring. If they're not involved, they're not going to take it in. I don't know what's going on in people's homes. I'm not here to judge, but I'm not, you know, I don't know what the parents get out of this. You see an email, file it away. I believe in the message, you know, hate has no place in our schools. You guys reiterate it, and it's great. But we need to know what the consequences are. The kids need to know what the consequences are, and the parents need to know what the consequences are. Without identifying the kid, you can say, or someone can say, you know what, you draw a hate signal, you're expelled. That's it. You're suspended for the year. Give us a consequence. I'm sure more parents will be a lot more involved if they learn their kids are starting to think about these things. Maybe they'll have a real conversation with them. And even if it doesn't help them prevent that kid from getting suspended, maybe it'll help someone else or someone expelled. And we heard from the board a couple years ago or last year, we can't tell what the punishment is because the kids will know who it is. Well, that's not you disclosing it. You're allowed to tell what a punishment will be. The kids are smart. Hopefully the kids are smart enough they'll know what the punishment was meted out. The students and parents have to understand that hate of any kind, race, culture, religion, background will not be tolerated. Our kids and I think the families in this district think nothing will happen to them. They don't see any consequences from incidents of hate. Maybe there are, but no one's aware of it. So there's no fear of doing it. The message of zero tolerance is lost on our students. I understand that the hands of the administrators are somewhat tied. So I ask you, the board and the interim superintendent, please see that what you're doing right now isn't working. We need to see consequences, and we need to know what it is. Every student needs to know, and every parent needs to know in this district, you commit a hate crime, whether known or not known, there will be major consequences. Every child in our district should feel safe inside a school, inside this community, inside the school buildings. Jewish, Irish, Chinese, African American, Italian, Japanese, Polish, it doesn't matter. Whatever orientation, whatever gender, whatever, everyone should feel safe. We're all human beings, and that needs to be stated loud and clear, and that needs to be no more emails about the pyramid of hate and lip service. We need to see consequences. We need to see stuff that actually takes place so the kids get a little bit of fear into them, and maybe this won't happen again. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to come up? Absolutely. Yep.
First of all, thank you to those of you who have spoken this evening, and also thank you to those of you who ask questions and who challenge us to always do better, because that's why we're here. We want to respond in a respectful and responsible way. Our student code of conduct has included in it not only the things that are not tolerated and the things that are behaviorally addressed by administration in our district, but it also includes those consequences. With something like this, we must, by the state of New Jersey laws and statutes, we must contact the police department and the prosecutor's office of the County of Essex in the state of New Jersey. So immediately, law enforcement and the county prosecutor's office get involved in responding to things like this. And in this instance, I hope it was clear in both the letter and in my comments this evening, those procedures were followed. Additionally, when we talk about the pyramid of hate, that's not a lesson that we created. It's not lessons that our State Board of Education or Department of Education created. These come from the Holocaust community. They come from the educational agencies that address directly things about Holocaust bias crimes. I mean, we're not taking and making our own version of things. We're actually using credible resources to embed them in our daily practice and in our curriculum. Our teachers have chosen through that curriculum, when we design curriculum, they have chosen to address, and the middle school and high school most especially, have chosen to address directly Holocaust and genocide as topics. They're part of our New Jersey student learning standards. There are several books and articles and research projects that go on in our middle and high school that directly address these topics. As far as educational points of view are concerned, we try to make sure that we're not just paying lip service to this. This is not embedded in a one and done. It's not a one-time event. It's really part of the fabric. If you go into our curriculum and you look up those topics, you will see them embedded in our curriculum. We've got a page on our website that shows parents exactly where those topics are addressed at elementary, middle, and high school. And that's just in our educational programming. Our board policies, I mentioned our bias policy earlier. Those policies are policies that are also put in place not only in our district, but in the policies of all schools in the state of New Jersey. Those are mandatory policies. Not only must we follow them, we are morally and ethically obligated to follow them. So I do want to make sure that you understand that the consequences are not frivolous consequences. We really do. We have contact with the police department, contact with the county prosecutor's office. This is not a, you get a lunch detention kind of a thing. This is truly important. And when we talk about bias and hate, I'm glad that other considerations, that broader topic, people, unfortunately, in this day and age, it is so easy to demean almost anyone. And you're doing, keyboard warriors. We're behind the internet and we're behind those screens, and it's so easy to be hurtful to someone. So, as an educational organization, as teachers, as educators, we try to make sure that when we are face to face with our students and our families, that we are as clear and honest about what's acceptable, what's not, and to help kids understand. It's not about they're too young to understand or they didn't know. We're really trying to help students grow into the kind of people who respect one another. The old adage is you treat people as you wish you were to be treated. We try to do that with and for our students every single day. And I have to applaud our administrative team, our Board of Education, but most especially our teachers, because they are with students with those messages every day. Every day. We help kids to make better choices. And that's what we're for. An educational institution is to help to educate those that we have in front of us on a daily basis to make those good choices, to be kind, to be generous, to be accepting. That word tolerance, I know it's part of the vocabulary for this kind of a topic, but I don't even like tolerance. Because you know what? It means that maybe I have some other thoughts in the back of my head, but I'm just going to tolerate. Everyone deserves to be respected, and I believe that we have the right tools in place, and I also believe that whatever has happened in the past, and by the way, I know that letter was sent out before. Mr. Bertolo and I went through it, and I felt it was very thorough to the point we made a couple of minor changes to it. The message is the same. It's the way it's received that we have to make sure is better and better every day. So I just wanted to make sure that I addressed that with you, and that hopefully we're going to do better every single day. And I need to know that that we need to know as a community. I mean, I live here too. I have a son that went to this school district. I have nieces that grew up here and went to this school district. And I need to know too that as a community that we understand that it's a partnership. We all need to be in this together to help our students to make those better choices. Okay? Thank you.
Would anyone else like to come up?
Kyle Brown, 13 Burlington Road. With something this severe, something that affects people this much, it's not a matter of just do better next time. You have to do better this time. You have to stop it now before it continues to happen. You say that it's not just a lunch detention, but nobody knows that. It might be in the code of conduct, but nobody's reading that. Like Mr. Goodgold said, everybody needs to know what the consequences of these are. This is something that is so serious, something that affects so many people. It can make people fear to go to school. Something that happens, that is something that results in the deaths of many Jews and violence all over the place. It's something that needs to be stopped. It's not a matter of we'll do better. It's a matter of you need to stop it. Make sure everyone knows what the consequence is of doing something like this. You can't just say, oh, it's in the code of conduct. We can't say whatever. You need to, it's not private information to say what the consequence of doing something like this is. You can just say it. It's not that hard. It's not revealing private information. It would stop people from doing something that is this threatening to a group of people.
Thank you.
Lauren D'Amico, 23 Sweet Court. You know it takes a lot, for those of you on the board that know me, know it takes a lot for me to get up here. And so I just want to make it short and sweet. The fact is, once I shared this, once I found out from a friend that this had happened, shared it with my boys, who are sophomores, and they both just looked at me and just kind of rolled their eyes and said, well, nothing's going to happen. It's fine. That happened before. That happened. It's going to keep happening. And I said, well, do you want to come to the Board of Ed meeting with me? And they said, why? So, to back up what has already been said, I understand and I acknowledge, because I know the staff and I know that they care. Okay, I know my kids have been taken care of quite well. I absolutely love it. However, the message needs to trickle down to these kids, and the kids need to understand that there are consequences, right? When I was a kid, that's what happened. You knew if you did this, this was going to be the punishment. I understand, as a nurse, I understand keeping privacy, right? HIPAA and what have you, that's great, but the kids need to know the ramifications. If they find out, they trickle down, rumors happen, what have you, that's fine. But there needs to be a little bit more. We need to now step up those consequences because this is a repetitive thing. And if they are becoming numb to the fact that it happens, that's a problem, right? It is no longer being like, oh my gosh, what just happened? The first time it happened, yes, they were very upset. My kids were very upset. Then it happened again. And then again, and now they're like, well, why even bother going? That is where we're saying, we know you all care. We know it's being taught, but there has to be another step. We just want to up it just a little bit, kind of scare them a little, because there seems to be kind of a numbness to a lot of things that have been going on in the world. They can now make jokes and things and think nothing of it. Whereas how many years ago this never would have even been joked about. That's why we're saying if that's the way the world is trending, we need to trend as well. So not only do we need to teach it, but we need to up that punishment. We need to up the awareness as to the consequences. Because if my kids are saying, why bother coming? That's a problem. Because they know there's nothing that's going to happen. So I beg of you to reconsider to, instead of just do better, do something different this time. Please. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, if there's nobody else that wants to come up and address the board, then I am going to ask for a motion to enter back into executive session at 8:13 p.m.
I'll make a motion.
And a second, please.
I'll second.
And then Brian, whenever you're ready.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All against, nay? Any abstentions? Motion carried.
Okay, and wishing everyone a happy holiday season, a happy and healthy new year. We will see everyone, we reorg January 5th, 2026.